The 20 ways to win deck list has finally been revealed, but the ultimate question on everyone's mind is it worth to buy? Hello guys, my name is Jack Talks MTGs, and today we are going to be looking at the full deck list for the 20 ways to win Secret Lair Commander deck that will be releasing soon. I'm going to be going through the release date of this deck, I'm going to be going through the pricing of this deck, and looking at the individual cards, and just showing my thoughts on whether I think this product is going to be worth it for you to part with your hard-earned cash. Now, before we get into this deck, I have one small request, team. If you could just hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content in this video, it really helps to help out the channel, so it'll be greatly appreciated. Other than that, let's get into this deck. So first things first, we had this announcement. This was yesterday on the Magic News website. Secret Lair Commander deck, 20 ways to win, full deck list. Got a nice little picture here with some of the cards in there. So for those that don't know, if you haven't watched my other video, this is a Secret Lair Commander deck which will be based around alternative win conditions. Now the contents, we have all the details we need now. So the contents: one ready to play 100 card Commander deck. This will come with 10 borderless rainbow foil cards with brand new artwork, and I will say the artwork on these cards do look amazing. They're all like Tanuki themed, like Japanese raccoon dog style animal. Someone put in the comments in my last video that the reason they've gone with this is like in Japanese myth lore, like they're like sort of they're supposed to be like mischievous creatures and like up to like schemes and stuff, so it kind of fits the whole like finding alternative ways to win. I guess that's how they've justified it, so I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, 10 borderless rainbow foil cards, brand new artwork, 16 updated non-foil cards with the Secret Lair set symbol, and 74 non-foil cards with the Planeswalker symbol. One display commander printed on thicker cardstock, not legal for sanctions play. So if you've ever bought the old precons, it's so strange because they did stop doing this. They did it for like I bought the Lost Caverns of Ixalan precon, so they had these like thicker commanders, the same with like the Lord of the Rings. But the recent ones, like the Bloomborough ones, they didn't come with these thick commander cards. I think they're bloody stupid. I don't really see the point in them, so I was happy to see them gone. But they brought them back for this Secret Lair for some reason. But you know, 2 rainbow foil shrine tokens with brand new artwork that you can't really get out, but we'll get to that in a minute, and 10 non-foil double-sided tokens. Now the price of this product will be $149.99, so this is not cheap. This is not your $40 precon, okay? I said this in my last video, this deck was going to be around this price, as this is what they've marketed their other Secret Lair precons in the past, Secret Lair Commander decks, and this one is looking at the same price. So it is quite a hefty price tag. So we're going to want to make sure that this deck is going to be, we're going to be getting $150 worth. So the ultimate question is that going to be the case? So this is a 5-color commander deck that lets you win in all games in all sorts of weird and wild ways. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is confirmed. Go Shintai is in fact going to be our commander, but we all sort of already knew that. These are some of the tokens we're going to be getting. You can see this shrine token is gorgeous, and it will be in rainbow foil, which is nice. And if you don't know, shrine tokens themselves are quite expensive, so it's quite nice to get that. That is stunning art, I must admit. Like the art in these, the actual new art versions of some of these cards are stunning, I will say that. So these are the tokens you get. I'm not going to bother reading that out. This deck will go on sale on the 2nd of December 2024, starting at 9 AM PST. Right, guys, I want to say this right now. If you want this deck, you are gonna be in the queue to pick this up, because if it's anything like the Marvel Secret Lair shenanigans, it's gonna be crazy. People are gonna be going wild. However, my personal opinion is that the hype around this is not going to be quite the same, and I don't think there's going to be quite as much competition, and you're going to see why in a minute. But let's keep going. So here is the actual deck list. So we've got all the cards here, but I've also got this up on Arcadeck just so we can make viewing this deck a little bit nicer. So we're going to have a look at that now. So here we go. This is the Arcadeck version of it, so we can actually have a look at all these cards here. Now, some of my initial thoughts here, that I'm just going to put this out there. I feel like this deck is a little bit of a mess. I had this thought that it may be like this when this was originally announced. And now looking at the full deck list, I can confirm that is the case, okay? But I'm going to tell you why. So first things first, Go Shintai is our commander. And it says, whenever Go Shintai Life Origins or another non-token shrine enters you under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. The issue is there is no other shrines in this deck, so you're never going to proc his ability, ever. The only time he procs is when he enters. So you'll get one shrine when Go Shintai comes in, and even that, it's not really doing anything. It's just a free token. So he's in this deck mainly for that first ability, the tap to return enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, originally I thought that there was going to be some sort of milling stuff in this deck, and that was going to be relevant because you're going to be able to mill stuff and then pick the enchantments you want and put them into play. There's no mill in this deck, so it's looking a bit strange. It's just there to basically, if your opponents try to remove some of your win con enchantments, you can bring them back. But that is it. That is the only reason Go Shintai is in here. So the deck is not really based around him. He's more of just like a supportive commander, which is not the worst thing in the world. But why do I think this deck is such a mess? Because, as I've said, there's too many win conditions in here, and there is no streamlined strategy it's trying to go towards. And what happens is that you have a deck that is trying to do everything, and because of that, it does nothing. There are certain cards in here that the only way you can get the win cons off is by comboing it with like one other card in the deck. An example of this is like Biovisionary. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures named Biovisionary, you win the game. I said this in my last video. In Commander, you can't have more than 1 copy. So I thought there was going to be ways to like change names of cards, but there isn't. It's basically the only way to do this is to create a clone of it. And there's one other card in here that creates clones. If we go all the way down here, I believe, Right of Replication. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, and if you kick it, you get 5 copies. So basically, if you draw this and Biovisionary, then you will win if you can get them both out. But it's like little things like that, like little card combos, but there doesn't really seem to be any real, like, this is what the deck is trying to do. And I think it's fine if you are happy with like this like sort of janky gimmicky deck, because that's what this is. It's more of it's not trying to be this optimized deck that's going to do really, really well. In reality, this deck is like, I don't think this deck is better than any precon, and it's priced more than 3 times the amount. So don't buy this deck if you're looking for something that is going to be like good. It's more if you just like a bit of jank and you like something a bit different and funny and like sort of memey, then you might enjoy this. Personally, it's not for me, but let's keep going. So Halo Fountain, this is another win condition in this deck. Have 15 creatures you control, win the game. There is not that many cards in here that is going to allow you to achieve that. There's not many token creators or doublers or anything like that. You've got Hangerback Walker, where it dies, you can put multiple copies of it. But again, you need to have enough mana to put enough counters on it in order to get that off. But other than that, there's not that many ways to get loads of creatures. Obviously, there's that other Right of Replication that we just showed, is a way to do it, but there's really not that many ways. So it's, yeah, I don't know, it's a bit strange. I want to talk about the mana base in this deck. It's all gates. So the deck runs Maze's End. This does come with an alt art, by the way. So what you're seeing now is not the alt art versions of the cards, but this will come with Maze's End. Maybe I'll show you a picture of it on the screen now. But Maze's End, this is basically a way to win the game if you control 10 or more gates. A lot of the lands in here are gates. So this is probably one of the more doable ways to win the game in this deck. But it means that the whole mana base has to be based around gates, which hurts it a little bit, I think. But it's a 5-color deck, and they can't make the mana base like crazy expensive. Otherwise, this deck would be even more expensive. So I guess this is a more cheaper way to do it with the whole gate stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Some people I've seen are complaining about that. Okay, what else do we have here when we're looking at these cards? Okay, Hellkite Tyrant. This wants you to have lots of artifacts. Is this deck filled with artifacts? No. I think it has about 8, 9 or something artifacts in here. It's got a couple artifact lands. It has a few ways to create treasures, but it's not an artifact deck. So, you know, if you take a look at all these cards here, there's not that many. We've got 6 artifacts up here, and then, you know, we've got a creature here, some treasure tokens, but that's it, guys. That's it. A couple of artifact lands, and that's it. So, you know, unless you're creating loads of copies of it, again, I think a lot of these win conditions are heavily reliant on right of replication. I think this card does very, very well to enable a lot of the win cons in this deck, but without it, it's not great. Okay, we see Approach of the Second Sun here. This is a win con. All you've got to do is play it twice. I made a mistake in my last video, and I said that, again, I didn't realize that because it goes back into your deck, you can play it again. So that's all you have to do, play this twice. Relatively easy, I guess, win con. But then if your deck gets shuffled, it's gone. So, and even that, it goes 7th from the top. So, you know, it's going to take a long time. But saying that, there is a lot of, well, there's a decent amount of card draw, because another one of the win conditions is, which we've talked about, Triskadefil. I can't say this bloody card's name. And 20-Toed Toe. These two are draw win cons. Looking at the deck now, we've got the full deck list. There is a fair amount of card draw in here, about 10 instances of card draw. So normal for a commander deck, right? So it's not crazy. So again, I still don't believe that this is going to be like crazy doable. Like, the reality is, if you wanted a functioning deck, then you would pick a few of these win cons and try to refine it for that. Also, even though this is a 5-color deck, a lot of this is green-white, I'm seeing. And then like red and black have sort of been splashed in here and there. But there's not a lot of it. Something to consider. But yeah, I'm not going to go through every win con in this deck, but basically it's just not very cohesive. Okay, the last one I will say is Liliana's Contract. You need to have 4 demons with different names to win the game. There are no demons. None. There are no demons in this deck, so the only way to do it is by getting changelings, which count as every creature type, and there are 3 ways to get changelings. There's one creature, which is Taurian Mauler. This is our changeling creature. Then there is a card, like an enchantment, that creates a changeling in Crib Swap. And then the only other way is to use Maskwood Nexus to rather create a few changelings, or creatures you control are every creature type, so they would all be demons. So all you would need to do is play this and Liliana's Contract, and then have 4 creatures and you win. So you're going to see that a lot, right? There's like a couple of these like 2-card combos, which if you draw these 2 together and get them both in play, you win. So it almost seems a lot of it is like RNG, which can be really fun for some people. Some people are going to love this sort of thing. It's not for me. I don't think this deck is... It just doesn't excite me at all. And for $150, like, there's not even that many cards of notes in terms of like valuable reprints. I mean, there's Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We've got Seaborn Muse. This is like a commander staple. It's good in any green deck. So this is a nice little include. What else we got here? Mystic Remora is a really nice card. Revel in Riches, I guess you could say. You know, so there's a few. I think the best one here is Clever Concealment. That's the most expensive reprint. This is a really nice protection spell that allows you to like phase out your permanents. So that is a great card. But you know, it's not filled with all these expensive reprints. And when you buy a precon, you part with say $40, and you can get like, you know, $120 to $150 worth of cards. You're not getting that here, you know, or you might just about get that and break even. But, you know, it doesn't feel great, guys. Obviously, because it's a secret lair, like the art versions of these cards, there's no way of knowing how much they'll be valued at the secondary market. So you could, you know, say that the secret lair alt cards alone could pay for the price on the second-hand market, I guess. But in terms of quality of the cards that you're getting, you are not getting that reprint value. It's all based on the whole limited, you know, side of it. The general community's feedback of this, and we're talking on Reddit and YouTube comments and all that stuff, is mostly negative. I'm not seeing a lot of people that are excited for this deck. You know, we've had like Dogs and Cats, which was the secret lair deck before this, and of course people are going to go crazy for that, and that was a fairly synergistic deck. You've had the coin flip deck, which is really fun to play, and you know, people liked that. But this is just, I think this is going to be a bit of a miss. I'll say it now. But I'm not a master deck builder, so I can't sit here and look at this and go out and out with confidence, this deck sucks ass. You know, I can't say that. Maybe it works because there's enough of these alternate win conditions going on that somehow there's always a way to get at least one off, and it's fun, right? Maybe. I'm not denying that. Please don't let my opinion be fact. You know, like I'm not saying that at all. The issue is just, I don't know, it's not seemed to be well received by the community as a whole. But guys, that's all I'm going to say on this video. If you want the full deck list, I might keep a link in this video so you can go check it out yourself. Let me know what your thoughts in the comments below are. Are you going to be in the queue to pick up this deck, or is this a hard miss? Let me know. Let's get a conversation going. And if you like this video, then why not check out my other secret lair videos? I've got ones on the Marvel secret lairs. I have a video on this before where I started to share my initial thoughts, so you can check that out as well. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. Cheers.